you can just unmute and introduce yourself. So just as a reminder, I'm Armando Gutierrez, and I'm the Senior Research Analyst, and I'll pass it off to Rosario Mahana.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rosario, and I'm a research analyst and project administrator at CHC. And that's it for my introduction for now.
Thank you. Veronica Lopez.
Buenos días a todos, Verónica López.
Good morning, everyone. Veronica Lopez. I am the Best Start Project Administrator Coordinator. Good morning.
Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle Burton. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer and Director of the Social Change Institute for Community Health Councils.
Thank you. And Areli. Areli, you there? Okay. Sarah Navarro. If you could introduce yourself and the community that you're coming from.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Sara
Hello,
Navarro.
good morning. My name is Sara Navarro, and I represent the community of Best Star Broadway, Manchester, but I belong to the Green Meadows community.
Thank you. Ana Velba.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Anabelba Córdoba.
Good morning. My name is Anabelba Córdoba. I belong to Broadway, Manchester, but I also belong now to Green Meadows.
Thank you. And Veronica Gutierrez.
Hello, good morning. My name is Veronica Gutierrez. I also represent Broadway, Manchester.
Thank you. And Maria Avila. Sorry, multiple Marias. I'm saying.
Buenos días, mi nombre es María Ávila.
Good morning. My name is Maria Avila, and I belong to the Green Meadows community as well within Broadway, Manchester.
Thank you. And Blanca.
Mute original audio.
Y buenos días a todas. Mi nombre es Blanca González.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Blanca Gonzalez, and I belong to the Watts community.
All right, thank you. And Wilma.
I'm sorry, who did you call, Armand?
Wilma. I think it says Wilms on the video. Wilma, are you there?
Wilma is here, yeah. It's just I'm in the doctor's office. It's okay. Do you hear me?
We can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're speaking.
Do you hear me? I don't hear you.
Wilma, can you hear me? Okay, she's at the doctor's office. I don't think she chose a language.
Okay. We'll move on then, but Wilma, if possible, if you could also select the language of interpretation and mute original audio.
¿Me escuchan?
Okay. Jackie.
I'm sorry, who did you call? Somebody was speaking in the Spanish channel.
Jackie.
Muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Jacqueline Cortina.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Cortina, and I represent the community of Broadway, Manchester.
Thank you. Patricia Clayton.
Hi,
Feedback here.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. There is a bit of an echo though.
Hold on. No. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, can you hear me now?
Are you on?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
If you added a device,
Sí, yo te escucho, Pilar.
if you have two devices on, that might be producing the feedback.
All right.
Patricia.
Okay.
Perdón, Pilar.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Patricia. I think the two devices' audio though might be producing that feedback with each other. So it's creating a bit of a feedback for everybody's speaker.
Okay, I'm on now. Can you hear me?
I think maybe Patricia, if you could just include your name in the chat, and
Okay, I'll
we can
do
come
that.
back to you later as well. We'll move on to Karina Espinoza.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Karina Espinosa. Y
Good morning. My name is Karina Espinosa, and I belong to the community of Watts, so I represent Best Star Watts Willowbrook.
Thank you. And Maria Manzano.
Hola, mi nombre es María Manzano y soy de
Hello,
aquí.
good morning. My name is Maria Manzano, and I belong to Best Star Watts Willowbrook.
Thank you. And Bertha.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Berta Lamas y yo.
Hello, good morning. My name is Berta Lamas, and I belong to Best Star Compton is Compton.
Thank you. And Onemia. Onemia, on mute. You're on mute. Onemia, you're still on mute if you're speaking.
There I am, right? Okay, hi. I represent the wonderful West Athens community.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mary Lee.
Good morning. I'm Mary Lee, and I'm representing West Athens.
Thank you. And Rita Espino.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Rita Espino.
Good
y
morning. My name is Rita Espino, and I represent Broadway, Manchester.
Thank you. Leticia.
Buenos días a todos. Mi
Good
nombre
morning, everyone. My name is Leti Martinez, and I'm working for the community of Watts Willowbrook, but I also represent Broadway, Manchester, and West Athens. Thank you.
Thank you. Miguel.
Hi, good morning. My name is Miguel. I represent Broadway, Manchester as well. I'm a leader of the Avalon Gardens community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Maria Callejas. Maria, you might be on mute. Oh, Patricia. Okay. Okay, we'll pass it off to, we can come back later. Rebecca Ratsky.
Hi, Rebecca Ratskin, Director of Research and Evaluation, Community Health Council. It's really wonderful to see all of you online.
Thank you. And Margarita Martinez.
Hi, my name is Margarita Martinez, and I'm representative from Vista Broadway, Manchester, a Mujeres Emprendedoras, iHeart, and Scope.
Thank you. Erica Pinto.
Buenos días a todos, me llamo Erika. Gusto conocerlas a todos.
Can't seem to hear you, Erica. Okay, we can come back. Albert.
Good morning, Albert Ramirez, Director of Strategic Initiatives with Community Health Councils.
And Teresa.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Teresa Díaz y represento a la comunidad de Best Star Compton.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Diaz, and I represent the community of Best Star Compton. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sylvia Alonso.
Hola, buenos días.
Hello, good morning.
Yo soy del
I am in South Central LA, the community of South Central LA, and also represent Broadway, Manchester.
Thank you. Marcela?
Good morning. My name is Marcela Rodriguez, and I represent Watts Willowbrook with Watts Healthcare Corporation.
Okay. Amada?
Buenos días, mi nombre.
Good morning, my name is Amara Burgos, and I belong to the Broadway, Manchester community and live in Avalon Gardens. Thank you.
Thank you. And Fortina?
Amada, no se oye.
¿No se oye? ¿No? Bueno. ¿Se escucha?
Fortina, if you could introduce yourself. Isabel Montero?
Gracias, muy buenos días a todos, muy
Thank
agradecido.
you. Thank you to everybody. Very thankful to have this opportunity. I work for different communities, Broadway, Manchester, Compton, Watts, all these communities. I work and I represent National Health Foundation for Food Security, and I am learning about different needs and continue the fight for food justice. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you. And Isabel Montero?
Muy buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es
Very
Isabel.
good morning, everyone. My name is Isabel Montero, and I belong to the Broadway, Manchester community. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll have Mary Alvarez.
Muy buenos días a todos.
Very good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to see you all again. Thank God that I can be here with you. My name is Mary Alvarez, and I represent my community, Watts Willowbrook.
Thank you. We'll have Shanice Price.
Good morning. My name is Shawnice Price, and I am representing Compton and Bellflower areas.
Shanice, I may not be able to hear you. Did you select your language of interpretation and mute original audio? Yeah, I can't hear. Can folks hear her?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. I am representing the Compton and Bellflower areas.
Thank you. Next, the CECI. Okay, we'll come back to that. The screens are moving, so I apologize if I'm repeating the call, but now I see Juana.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Is Juana speaking? Can folks hear me?
Juana first asked if we could hear her in Spanish, but then she's speaking English, so I don't know what channel she's on.
Juana, if you could, I guess keep the one language of interpretation. Can you hear her, Pilar?
I can hear everybody regardless of them being on a channel, so I really can't help.
Okay, okay. We'll come back to it. So next we'll have Febe. Febe Gonzalez, if you could introduce yourself. Oh, thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. I'm blessed to be able to see you all again. And I'm glad to see everybody's doing fine. I belong to Vestar West Athens, and I feel blessed being here with you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see Patricia Hernandez.
Hello, good morning. My name is Patricia Hernandez, and I belong to Broadway, Manchester. Hello to everyone.
Thank you. And Letty Martinez. Oh, is there two? I think there's.
I already introduced myself, but I needed to start in another device because the one I had was failing. So I'm seeing you in one and I'm listening in the other, but I introduced myself already. Good morning, Letty Martinez, what's Willowbrook? Thank you.
Thank you. Rocio.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rocio Alfaro, and I belong to What's Willowbrook. Greetings, everyone.
Thank you. And finally, Kenneth Carson. Kenneth, are you there?
Good morning, everyone. Kenneth Carson, Watts Willowbrook.
Thank you. So I think that was everyone. If you didn't, just please mention it and we can have you introduce yourself.
I just wanted to mention something. The chat does not have the ability to chat with everyone. It's only going to the host. Okay, so there's no choice to choose everyone. I don't know if that's by design or what, but I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, could we change that, Veronica or Rosario? Unless that was the option that we had in mind.
Yes, I'm working on changing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll start off by sharing the screen. Rosario, could you do that? And we'll share our presentation. So thank you all for.
One second, I just give me a minute to share screen, but one sec.
Okay. All right, so thank you all for introducing yourselves. We'll start off with the agenda. So we'll discuss the. Are we okay to start? No? Okay. The background on food ambassador research, the results of photo voice and interviews, a discussion, and then we'll close out. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Sorry.
Sorry, just 1 second. The slides aren't moving. I apologize. 1 second.
Okay, great. So next we'll move on to discussing the background information. So we received 90 photo voice and interview submissions. We received 59 photo voices and 31 interviews. And we will share some pictures and captions from the photo voice files and provide excerpts from the interviews collected. So included in this, I want to apologize to Wilma Haynes. We unfortunately left you in that final thank you in the report, but we did include your submissions within this. And just as a note, we'll include an amended version that we'll send out with you included, and we'll double check to make sure that we didn't miss anyone. If you happen to not see your name in the final thank you at the end of the report that we sent out, please let us know and we'll be sure to fix that. So using this information and data, we hope to use the stories that you shared to influence the following. 1, policies and regulations that affect access to healthy food. 2, key stakeholders, advocates, and initiatives working to improve access to healthy foods. 3, strategies for improving access to healthy food. And 4, the view of existing data and maps on food resources across South LA.
And so jumping into all the submissions that you sent us, we touched on a number of themes. Some of them include lack of healthy food, travel and transportation, access to quality produce, liquor stores, dietary practices, familial influences, community resources, health concerns, challenges to eating healthy, and the cost of eating healthy. And so next, I will be sharing excerpts and photos that you all submitted. And I want to apologize beforehand that we were not able to include quotes from everyone in this presentation. As you saw, we received a large volume of submissions. And so if we were to include a quote and a picture from everyone, this would just be a very long presentation. But I do want to encourage you that if we share a quote that was directly from you and you would like to say a little bit more, to please feel free to do so. Or if you read a quote that resonated with you, you can also feel free to share that. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the slides and I'm not sure why.
Maybe we can exit out and click on the individual slide.
There you go. Okay. So one of the topics that we found, or one of the overall arching themes, a lot of you spoke about the challenges that you experienced to eating healthy. And within this much larger topic, you mentioned several examples. One of them being travel and transportation as a challenge that you face to being able to eat healthy. And so, for example, Rita Espino from Broadway, Manchester wrote in her photo voice submission, "I would like this store to offer transportation for those people that don't have a car. I know that in some stores, shoppers are offered transportation to their home." And so I don't have a picture of a car because this challenge was kind of mentioned like offhandedly as, this is a picture of a grocery store that I'm showing you. And by the way, I wish I had more easy transportation to it, which we thought was very interesting. And so this is just one example of a challenge that you all face to eating healthy. And so we'll move on. And another example that you all mentioned as a challenge to eating healthy had to do directly with the cost of healthy food. And so an example that we saw of this came from Rocio Alfaro from Watts Willowbrook, and she wrote, "Right now, a grocery store that sells organic food and is nearby is food for less. They have very little organic food there, and it is very expensive, and that makes it difficult to purchase. Especially if you have a job where you're paid the minimum wage, you don't have the money to buy that food." And so Rocio mentioned this in an interview where she was herself being interviewed. And several of you also touched on how expensive it is to eat healthy. And so we thought this topic stood out to us. And finally, a third challenge that you all often spoke of was actually having access to good quality produce. An example of this comes from Patricia Hernandez. She wrote, "The prices here are more affordable, but the vegetables are not good quality. They look wilted, and the same as Smart and Final, the selection is small." And so Patricia actually took a picture of the produce that she was talking about to show that it didn't look like the best quality. And so although some of you may have had access to produce, it wasn't as good as it could be. And so again, many of you spoke on that topic and we thought it was important to highlight. And moving on to another pretty popular theme that we saw in all of your submissions had to do with health concerns and the connection that you all made between your diet and living a healthy life. And so Karina Espinosa from Watts Willowbrook wrote, she had a situation of anemia a few months ago. So she thought it was very important after she was treated to change her diet and routine. And Karina mentioned this in reflecting with the conversation that she had with a friend. And so her friend's physical well-being was directly tied to her diet and her routine. And so we thought it was also important to highlight that. And finally, the most common topic or the most common type of submission that we saw from all of you were submissions that had to do directly with your own dietary practices. So a lot of you were very creative and sent us pictures of foods that you eat or foods that you cook with. For example, Areli Mejia from Broadway, Manchester submitted this picture of seaweed and she wrote, I took this picture in my home. This nutritious food is seaweed and we use it to make sushi that has rice and avocado. My children eat it and they love it. And so thank you, Areli, for sending us that picture. Another example that we received was from Maria Lourdes Avila from Broadway, Manchester. She sent us this dish, a picture of this dish, and she wrote, here we have a mushroom dish, a green salad, cheese, and salsa. To drink a cup of chamomile tea. And so, sorry, I have to get my notes ready because the next pictures or the next slides are just pictures. And so I do want to make sure I'm describing them correctly. But like I said, it was pretty hard to include quotes from everyone. And so I did want to make an effort to include more pictures from all of your great submissions. And so on the screen, you'll see examples of submissions from both Phoebe Gonzalez and Bertha Lamas. Phoebe submitted the food of the picture on the left and wrote in her submission that this produce can be difficult to attain in her neighborhood. She also wishes that these foods could be afforded at a more accessible price and that they were organic. Bertha's picture on the right, she wrote that this is a picture of a produce section of Food for Less and wrote that she's very happy with the selection of organic food, but wishes still that there was even a greater selection. And these three great pictures, the first one from Gloria, she wrote that this is a stand that she uses in her home to hold all of her produce. And she wanted to highlight all the different things that are in this stand. She has tomatoes, onions, lemons, ginger, melon, mango, and bananas. She also wrote that her family buys groceries during the week in order to ensure that they only buy what they need so that their food doesn't go bad and they don't have to toss it. Marcela, the second picture, she submitted a picture of pozole, a dish that contains pork. And she wrote that although her family enjoys eating pozole, it can sometimes be unhealthy because of its fat content. And Maria, the third picture, she submitted another picture of a plate of food. This dish contains fish, rice, salad, and lemon water. And in her submission, she goes on to explain in more detail how she actually prepares this food, which a lot of you did, which I thought was really interesting and really great of you to share. And we have pictures from Martha, who shared a picture of chicken and broccoli. And she wrote in her submission that she never thought that she'd particularly like this combination, but that now it's her favorite. And Patricia Hernandez shared a picture of a breakfast plate of waffle and fruits. And she received this from a nutritional support center. And she said that this particular waffle was made, this particular dish was made with protein powder, which could be an alternative to the regular flour that is used to make pancakes, which I thought was interesting. Silvia Alonso from Broadway, Manchester took this really great picture of produce at a grocery store. And she said in her submission that she wishes more local grocery stores had fruit stands like this and had more options with great produce, such as the one that she took a picture of. And Patricia Clayton from East Compton, took a picture of her local Aldi's, and she wrote that although she's happy with the Aldi's in Compton, East Compton, that she's been to Aldi's in other locations and that she feels that they have better produce. And so she wishes that her local Aldi's, the produce selection reflected what it's like in other neighborhoods and that may have better resources. And so those are just some examples of the very many submissions that you all sent us. And now I will pass it on to Armand to lead the discussion.
Thank you. So I want to thank you all for your stories and your interviews and all the hard work that you put into this. I loved how the food looked. It looked really good. The plating, I really like. It looked very professional. I also didn't know about the protein powder recipe, so that's a good tip for the future too. So you all did such a great job providing a look into your communities regarding what is needed and what healthy food that you have to work for to provide for your families. And so now we want to hear your input after seeing these slides. So like what Rosario mentioned, this was a snippet of what you all saw. And so there was a lot that we want to still talk about and mention. So first, based on your experience and what you saw in these results, what do you think food policies should work to address?
Accessibility. This is Patricia. Accessibility.
Accessibility.
Price. It can be the price of the products.
Price of the produce. I'm start writing these down.
More markets with organic products and at a reasonable price.
The quality of the products. Quality.
Rosario, could you actually unshare the screen so I can see people's screens and who's raising their hand? Thank you. Rita Espino.
Yes, good morning. I would like, there's community gardens where you can plant things and there's access for the community. I would like you guys to help us in the Broadway, Manchester, Watts Willowbrook, West Athens, that if you guys could help us to get community gardens for us, we can plant them and that way we can obtain the organic food like vegetables, fruits, and I think that would help everybody. That would be a huge change and that would help our communities here in South LA. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Febe?
That we should have the stores closer because the majority in our communities are liquor stores. So sometimes for us to be able to go make some purchase, transportation's a problem. We don't all have a vehicle so that we can go far and pick up the vegetables and the fruits and the organic products. So at the liquor stores, if they could have stores that are closer with organic products, I think that would help us quite a bit because I do agree with Rita as far as the gardens, but sometimes, there's certain seasons. Gardening has certain seasons for vegetables and fruits. So at the liquor stores, or because those are the ones that were around in our communities, maybe they could sell those products, those vegetables and the fruits at an accessible price in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I was going to pass it on to Maria Manzano to see if we had other things that we wanted to mention. And if folks could just raise their hand if you want to mention something.
Armand, I didn't catch the end of what you were saying because there were two voices at the same time.
I apologize. I was mentioning if people could raise their hands.
Oh, thank you. Okay. In my case, I agree with everybody else, but specifically also even between 103 and here in Willowbrook, I mean, there's a market on Saturdays where everybody would, you know, they'd have the organic fruits, but they got rid of it because people, I mean, we need that connection with people, to invite people, to involve them. Because they have these stands that if you would pay, let's say, if you would get food stamps, you could pay with a card, they would give you 10 additional dollars. So I would like that to come back, those stands that they had. And also, now I know that with this food ambassador, I know that there's a good connection with these people that can be made. And maybe that'll come back because I love to eat healthy. And I mean, especially if it's at a low price, and that's what I want for my community. So I think that that would be very beneficial if they would bring those stands back to us.
Thank you. So I'm seeing things of accessibility, price of produce, distance, which has connections to issues with transportation, and its stores overall and access to organic foods and products could be better. So I'll pass it off to Shanice.
For me, what I notice is like for people like myself who don't eat red meat and to purchase fish, fish has a very high cost, and then you only get a minimal amount. So it would be nice if there were like markets that would provide more in quantity for the cost that for people who don't eat red meats, you know, because the value, you know, our food cost is just so high and it makes it hard to eat healthy. So it would be nice if the cost of food and the quantity that was received, it measured out more.
Thank you. Isabel Montero.
For me, it would be a good idea to support our small shops or stores that we have, because sometimes they only sell stuff like they sell like, you know, canned foods. And we could talk with the small stores so that they could provide vegetables too. Thank you.
Okay. Talking to again to the issues of access. Fortina.
Who did you say? I'm sorry, we have somebody speaking in the background. Who did you say, Armand?
Fortina Hernandez.
Okay, can we ask people to mute their audio? I don't know who's speaking. Yes, I've been listening to somebody that they're speaking about farmers markets and the importance of it. And I think it's very important for our communities. Which are the farmers markets that don't have market mash? And to be able to push forward so that this program would exist in all the market mashes and all of the communities. That's one point.
Right, these are all great ideas, and I just want to note that we are recording, so we'll make sure to note it for our policy team and as we're moving forward. So I will get to the people that have their hands raised. I'm just going to read through the chats as well. I see Tina, equal quality of products, because in some communities they are better than other products. So like others mentioned, sometimes you receive higher quality food in other neighborhoods versus that of their own. And Rocio said, I would like that as well as the liquor, they have a great variety of beers. They had a variety of organic fruits and vegetables, because it's very important to consume this type of food, both for our children and for us as adults. Okay, so Cece? Ceci?
Pues a mí también me gustaría
Well, I would also like
los mercados de la fruta orgánica
the
estuvieran más
markets with
cerca de
the
nuestras
organic
comunidades,
fruits. They should be closer
porque la
to our
verdad sí las
neighborhoods
necesitamos.
because we really do need them.
Nosotros aquí en el sur centro
Here in South
casi no
Central,
tenemos.
we hardly have any of those.
Sorry, we're having issues with audio. If you could just select Spanish and mute original audio.
Okay. Okay.
Can we ask everybody to please mute their, okay, I think they did. I don't hear any response, so I don't know what happened. If you want to call somebody else.
Okay, Onemia? Onemia, you're on mute.
Okay, everything we're saying here is absolutely wonderful, but we need more PR. People need to know that we are here and we are influencers in our neighborhoods. But people don't know, neighborhoods don't necessarily know that we exist and that we're here to work for them, because we do have.
I'm sorry, but I'm not understanding. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm having a hard time interpreting because it's very muffled.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe speak a little slower so it'll come out clearly. I'm sorry.
Okay, am I muted now?
It's a little better.
Onemia, I think you're on mute now.
I mean, okay.
Oh, God.
I mean, oops.
It's not working. It's not working. I don't know what's happening.
So I can relay some of what I was hearing, Onemia. So you're talking about we need more PR. Basically
Right.
have to spread information so that people know the conditions and what you're seeing.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sylvia? Alonso?
Yes, good morning. I think I would like, with your support, that, I mean, you have more connections, with all that information and with us, that maybe you guys can help us to look for how we can have a place close to South Central to get a large market, because sometimes also in the smaller stores, well, I mean, they don't really have anything, so then people won't go. I mean, they have very few vegetables, and then sometimes they're just not in great condition anymore. Like, for example, here where I live, with those photos that I sent you, I mean, they'll have good fruit and everything, but I think it's a very high price. They have a high price, and it's not an accessible price. I mean, I think the price is just too high. So that's why I would like to have a large market of good quality where they can offer us fruits and vegetables that are organic, because here there's none of that, none at all. And I would also like, instead of the liquor stores, maybe they could put things like, good things for us. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm hearing those issues of accessibility coming up in other ways. Teresa Diaz?
Yes, good morning. Like everybody else is talking about, I would like to get support in the area where I'm at. We don't have a lot of access, and the large stores, they don't have a big variety, is not in good state. And whenever you find any products that are good, they're not affordable. So we're gonna need accessibility, and I mean, once again, if we have low income, it is a problem to be able to access those prices. Like, for instance, I didn't know that food for less would feel different if you go to a food for less in a different area. It was a surprise for me, and I think we all deserve to have access to quality products regardless of where we live. We should have the right to that. Thank you.
Mhm, mhm. Right, I like that. It's not just access for you, it's the differential access. The injustice that one community is able to access healthy food while you're not able to as equally. Miguel?
Um, Hi, my name is Miguel Gonzalez. Well, in my thinking, everyone, my classmates that are okay, but then I haven't been seeing because it happened to me one time. Okay, we have to educate the people how to eat. Um, you have to know the difference between organic and the people in the market that has to be organic. One of is organic, one other is not organic. We have to see the difference because in Brown Manchester, been seeing helping during on the pandemic people they're giving away a lot of vegetables and fruit and everything they're supposed to be organic, but then people we have to educate for because like a food ambassador I've been seeing too much people don't know how to use the vegetable correctly in the boxes that they give you. Well, it's an example like it happened to me last year in Broadway, Manchester. They give you some boxes of vegetables. The people they don't really know how to cook them. They don't know what they are or how to be because it happens to me. I didn't know how to cook that vegetable. And then with these programs, if we promote to the community like a leader of the community or people who are working in the communities, it's better to let the people know the difference between organic and not organic because before I was buying too much, and then why this vegetable is messed up? That's why because we have to know the difference. We have to know how to eat healthy. I know that it's healthy, but then we have to see the difference, educate our community, and then maybe with the price, with availability on everything that we can help more others in the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so it's about, it's not just in addition to spreading PR, it's about spreading education about what's accessible, what organic even means, how to use them in dishes, how to cook
Yes, and
them.
then do some more programs that like you guys that they can promote others and helping other people in the community because most of the people they don't have access. If you don't have access, how I can eat healthy? That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Febe?
Yes, thank you for allowing me to participate. I think that the lack of vegetables and fruits and healthy food in general, I also mentioned it on the chat, but that is one of the reasons why our communities are sick and obese. Why? Because we don't have the access to fruits and vegetables, healthy fruits and vegetables, organic foods, and affordable prices. It's one of the things that our communities are being affected by, and that's why our communities are obese. And you start with children. What is that the kids have access to? The first thing they see when you go to a liquor store is chips, potato chips. Everything is junk food. Is not healthy. But if you go with your kid, that is what is gonna cut their attention. That's where that's what they want. And from the very early age, they start eating that kind of food. They get used to it that way, and it is not healthy. It is something urgent. We need to talk about this constantly because it is affecting our bodies, and that is why the obesity rate is so high in our families and our communities because of what we eat and because we don't have access to healthy foods and vegetables.
Thank you. So I just want to note who I have on the list. So I saw Letty.
Sarah is asking if she can talk.
Sure, I'll add you after we have some people to speak. So I saw Letty first, and then I can go to you, Sarah.
Yes, thank you very much. But I believe basically Febe said what I was going to say. We have to emphasize that if we are educating ourselves to eat healthy and we're educating our community, we also have to work with stores, with grocery stores and stores in general, the small and the large ones. We could change, as Febe said, if we are emphasizing healthy eating, then exactly that's the comment that I wanted to say. If I go to a food for less and I have a baby in the stroller, the baby is gonna reach out, first of all, to some kind of candy or chips as we go by. So this is part of the work we have ahead of us. How are you going to make a baby understand that he's not supposed to eat sweets or not? I have observed several experiences. Even when I go with my grandson, it's like a temper tantrum because as you are going to pay, they just reach out for candy, and then you try to take it away, and they have a temper tantrum. We are constantly in a fight, and thank you, Febe, for bringing this up. Also, a lot of parents that are at work, they have no other option but to go and get a fast food with excess fat and not healthy. Once again, with a different organization, we work with fast food restaurants for them to offer a healthier menu and a smaller portion menus for a child. I mean, otherwise you're gonna trash half of it. So that's something that we could continue working. And I'm not saying you work, you help, you do. I'm saying we have to. We have to identify these places. We have to look for alternatives. And we are leaders in our communities, and we're training and learning from you to obtain those changes, to achieve the changes in our communities. Thank
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say, I think, right, like you mentioned, it's up to CHC's responsibility to build on the expertise that you all have, because you all are experts on your community, and we're more so just encouraging it and facilitating. So on my list, I have Sarah, and then Maria. If you had your hand raised, I wanted to see if you still wanted to speak later on. And I have Onenia, then Sylvia, and then Febe. So I have you on the list, so you don't have to hold your hand up literally if you're doing so. So next we have Sarah Navarro.
Okay, I'm going to support what Miguel was saying. That is true. We were provided with boxes with a lot of healthy food, a lot of organic vegetables and fruits. And I know that is expensive, but I'm gonna tell you something as well. Many of us, we don't even know what that is. Many of us, we have thrown away a lot of those vegetables, even half of it. We've trashed them. Why? First of all, because we need to have a training for us to know what that vegetable is used for. What can we cook with it? I do, actually, I do know the vegetables because I work at at rich people's houses, and I'm used to see all that. But I know of people that have grabbed the eggs and something else and trash everything else. So if you can actually train us what to do with those vegetables, I mean, I do know particularly, but I cannot teach my whole community. People do not know those vegetables, do not know what to do with them. So that is the main reason we would need a workshop to learn what to do with those vegetables. I mean, particularly, I don't know, maybe perhaps one day or month, we can have some kind of culinary classes or something. If we don't know the vegetables, we have no idea what that vegetable is for, but you're giving it to us in our box. I know of a lot of people that have trashed a lot of organic produce. If you don't teach me first what I'm gonna do with those vegetables, I mean, this is what the cow eats for us, perhaps. We have never eaten that same vegetable that the cow eats. But if we're not taught first, if we don't have some kind of training to use those vegetables, I mean, once again, we want our children to eat vegetables and eat healthy, but we don't know those vegetables. And don't say you didn't trash any of those foods, because I'm the first one that I opened the box and I said, what is this and what can I do with it? And of course, I did my research. But perhaps, I mean, once again, we can have some training about new vegetables and how to cook them.
Thank you. So I want to work through people's questions, but I think it would also be good to follow up and ask, what are some of the vegetables that folks might not be unfamiliar with cooking? And what are the particular topics that you'd want to learn more about? So if you could also put that in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand and speak on those things, that would be a good thing. So next I have Maria Avila. Did you have something that you wanted to mention? Maria?
Arman, Maria, what, which one, Maria?
Avila, the Lord Avila. Yeah.
Yes, good morning. Look, my comment, what I would like to say about the community gardens, you can, for instance, our vegetables, you can grow organic vegetables that you can grow yourself. And particularly, we should teach our children to cultivate those vegetables for them to know that in the future, I mean, like, if you care for it, it grows, and eventually you can cut it and you can cook it and eat it. And I would like to emphasize that with our children, so that our children can emphasize that and teach that to other friends and other schoolmates, and that way we can spread the word. Here where I live, there is a little parcel in the back where he cultivates onions, cauliflower, tomatoes, and herbs to cook. And that'd be my comment. And what I have learned through this Food Ambassador program was because I had a problem, and because of that is how I learned to eat healthier. And I apologize, I cannot express myself any better. Thank you.
Thank you. I think overall what we're also talking about is policies that increase access, but also policies that seek to educate and inform communities as to what resources we do have and how to cook the available produce that we might have. Onemia? Onemia, you're on mute.
Okay, when I go to my local market, if I see something I do not like, I call the manager. I say, come over here and look at this. I can't buy this. Why are you selling this to someone else? And so I've had times where I've had to clean off a section. I said, this is garbage. And I still go to the market and they still say, hi, how you doing? You know, because we are paying for this food. And this food is expensive. I don't care what market you're in, it's expensive. It's expensive. And I'm not, you know, one that likes to waste money on food. And I do know this friend of mine who worked at one of these markets told me there is a difference In the market, you go to our area, west side and the beach, same company, but those markets in the other areas, no, they are wonderful. He has worked at all of them. He says that we come up here to South Los Angeles, and that market gets the leftovers of the whatever's there. So that's why when I go in, I say it's garbage. I can't buy this, but I want to shop here because it's in the neighborhood. I want to support my neighborhood. I'm supporting my neighborhood. That's how I feel about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. So just
Armand, you're muted.
sorry about that. So I just want to relay what Onemia might have been mentioning. So she mentions that she's often had to talk to a manager or someone in the grocery store if there's possibly newer produce and fresher produce available. And she mentions that there's a difference in those markets across neighborhoods, that the access to produce and higher quality produce is much higher in other communities. She does have an interest in supporting the markets that are in her local community, but those are some of the issues or obstacles of being able to access fresh produce. Okay, so next we have Sylvia.
Yes, I would like to make a comment. For instance, I also love eating healthy. And when you ask us to do the photo voice, to discuss what the food is, what's in the stores, over here in the corner of where I live, they have a 7-Eleven, and I went over there and I kind of walked around and was observing. The first thing I found when I walked in was junk food. Also, the shelves have Red Bull, Monster, beer, smokes, and then by the entrance, also Doritos and all kinds of chips. So once again, what's our community eating? And that's a busy store. So we are gonna need a lot of education besides talking to the manager, which I did, but like he didn't really seem very receptive when I told them that they didn't have anything healthy at all. Look, everything that you're offering, and this is not food that is useless. Hot dogs, pizza, those juices from the machines that are full of sugar. That's what our children are eating and drinking, and it is harmful for all of us. So in South Central, also, no matter where you go, you see one 7-Eleven after another. And for me, to be honest with you, there's nothing good to get from there. Most of them, I mean, maybe one or another have a couple of healthy things, but that's about it. One more thing that I wanted to mention is that I went to pick up the food that you distributed. Thank you so very much. For me, what you guys were giving out was fantastic. I appreciate your effort and how much work it took to be able to give us those boxes, all those fresh fruit and vegetables. And for me, all that was excellent. I didn't think, I mean, I knew the vegetables. I thought it was pretty common ground, but that'd be me. Thank you. I just wanted to thank you anyway.
Thank you. So I'll get to people, but I just want to read in the chat. Jackie said, it is true there were people who threw away what they did not know, and it's good to have a knowledge about vegetables for what they are for and how we can use them. And Sara Navarro, I think you mentioned, for example, kale, acelga, which is, I think, like chard, and arugula. And Febe said, I agree with workshops, but my community appreciated what CHC provided for our community of fresh fruit, vegetables, and fruits. And we'll move to Febe next. And then Bertha and Amada.
Yes, I do agree with having workshops. It would be beautiful to get workshops about food and how to make juices with fresh fruits. But in our community of Bestar West Athens, as a resident there through the pandemic, and we met a lot of neighbors and friends that actually had the virus. It was a blessing to get those fresh fruits and vegetables from you, besides the fact that so many people became unemployed and did not have any other access to the food that you guys were giving us. Those oranges, that vitamin C for our immune system, we are blessed to have you and the effort you did in these critical times and these stressful times to be able to have access to those boxes of food that you were distributing. So I do not agree with I mean, respectfully, I do not agree with the fact that we were trashing food. Our community was extremely thankful, and the community talk about not even being able to thank you enough. So it was a blessing for our communities, in particular for my family and my closest neighbors. I would take boxes to them and I would knock on their door and leave it there. And they would be so thankful because they didn't have access to that food any other way. So that helped us all. And in Bestar West Athens, I'm extremely thankful with CHC, Bestar, First 5 LA for what you did in our community. And it was, I mean, I loved that. We weren't able to buy any of that food. And I am extremely thankful. And I'm not talking from myself, but my whole community. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Bertha?
Yes, I just wanted to say once again that there's a program. I am going to pass that on to Veronica to see if we can connect with that. It's helped me a lot to lower weight. It teaches you how to read labels. It teaches you how to be able to understand those labels. It helps you a lot when you go shopping. I used to just buy without thinking more, but now you know how to learn the label, black beans, quinoa. They teach you how to make healthy hamburgers with veggie hamburgers. Great program. I'm going to share it with Veronica to see if we can connect the community with them and get those classes. They're fabulous. Thank you.
That sounds great. Thank you. We look forward to being able to review that. Next, we have Amada.
Yes. Yes, good morning. Look, good morning, everyone. I like in general to eat fruits and vegetables. I have also always liked it, but my mistake is adding fat and meat and unhealthy stuff to the fresh fruits and vegetables. And that's why I have all this weight that I shouldn't have. But I coincide with other people that are talking about healthy food and training on how to prepare healthy foods and how to better use fruits, vegetables, etc. Now I'm going to a doctor that is guiding me how to use these vegetables and how to eat healthy. Now it's difficult for me because I'm not used to it. not everybody likes fruits and vegetables. Not everybody likes to eat healthy, but it is a process. You have to learn how to do it step by step. And yes, there are several programs, and perhaps we could do some research, but it'd be great if we could get some classes into eating healthy, because once again, as Febe mentioned, one of the worst illnesses within the Latino community is obesity, and it's not something that you can do overnight. It is a process. I'm a little bit disoriented, but I mean, 1 hour class is difficult. But if I could have perhaps every week or every other week, like a training or a reminder, it'd be great.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on one second. Karina Espinosa says we could not hear Amara. So all that, okay, Karina insists she
Yo sí te
cannot hear
escucho, Amara.
Amara. Oh God, some people can hear Amara, some people cannot hear
Sí,
Amara.
la escucho.
Yes, no, I can hear her, I cannot.
I can't hear.
Okay, Karina insists she cannot hear Amara, so everybody's talking in the Spanish channel of who can hear Amara or who cannot hear Amara. And of course they think I'm not interpreting, but I'm in the English channel interpreting because Amara is speaking Spanish. So Amara says, it seems like some of you can hear me, some of you cannot hear me.
Maybe we can put, Amada, what you're mentioning in the chat, and we can move on to other people mentioning. Thank you.
Yeah, so once again, the food that you used to distribute in boxes, I would come up with my own inventions because I love those vegetables. So I would just come up with any food that in my humble opinion was healthy, might not be. So that method does not work. We do need programs to teach us and help us to eat healthy. And for those of you that can hear me, great. And for those of you that cannot hear me, I'm sorry. I can hear you all very well. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have Teresa and then Kenneth. I do want to mention though that we are going to transition to closing out the discussion. So if you did have things that you wanted to mention still, please write it in the chat and we'll take note of it as well. So next I want to pass it off to Teresa.
Yes, good morning. My comment is, how much can you help us with the schools? Because within this pandemic, a lot of people were out, but a lot of kids did go back, and I don't know what types of foods they were giving. But what I would see was the lunches that they were giving out, a lot of it was going bad. And yes, it is our obligation to educate them. But a lot of mothers and I would hear that they were saying, oh, they gave them pizza. And as a parent, you also comment about the bad nutrition. So some of the lunches were good, but some of them, some of the parents were, also saying, why didn't they give you pizza? And, I would like to know if you guys have any kind of influence with the schools to supervise what menus they're handing out, because they're going to be going back in August. And then we'll be able to control that a little bit more. And I would like it if you guys could help as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think like you mentioned, with children going back to schools and children eating about 1 to 2 meals at the schools, it's important to also know what a food availability there is. So first off, I want to make sure, are we okay with interpretation? I see some folks can't hear. And if you could just click the language if you haven't and mute original audio. Okay. Next we have Ken.
Yes. One of the things that I think our community could focus on as a way of just creating some change in the types of produce that we receive, and that is community gardening. I'm always amazed at the number of fruit trees and in the yards of the houses here, and I always think it's like, man, we should never have to pay for another guava. We should never have to pay for another orange or lemon with all these trees that we have in our community. And all it's really lacking is the type of organization to harvest and take advantage of those fruits and the vegetables that are grown in the many community gardens in the Watts Willowbrook area. And, actually, again, organizing and developing, farmers markets that share a organized planting season and harvesting and reaping and getting those organic fruits and vegetables into our communities. And so I think that's one of the areas that we're really lacking focus on, although there's a lot of gardeners out there. It's the organization of gardening and getting those fruits and vegetables into our community that I think is lacking.
Thank you, Kenneth. So for the final person, Bebe, if you could just share your input and then we'll transition out.
Creo que, oh, sorry.
Bebe?
Yeah, okay. I think that right now, what affects us the most is, like, this whole thing with the pandemic, a lot of our residents are unemployed. So, the rent, the bills. I mean, let's think about this, the rent, the bills, the payments, all that hasn't changed. None of that has changed. And we have a budget for food, accessible food, but it's food that's good for nothing, really. We go to these places, we go to the markets, we look for the cheapest things, the fruit and the vegetables, so that we'll have enough in our budget. So what we want to see what our politicians going to do to help our communities. What are they going to be doing? How can they help us so that we can have access to our food? And how can they also give us access so that we can see more jobs that can help our communities, so that our budget can be balanced? Because right now we're like this. We're here where we have to pay a certain amount of bills and the rents haven't changed. They haven't gone down. Everything is the same. But our budgets and the unemployment, where is it? It hasn't balanced out. We're just barely opening up some businesses, but a lot of our residents in our communities, they're unemployed. And what they're asking us is they want us to have a job, to have access so that we could continue to pay our rents, our bills, and so that we can continue to provide for our families and the children get their food. So sometimes we go and we look for the cheapest things, because we'll go to the market and we'll go to the markets, and if we buy chicken, we'll look for the cheapest one that we could find. the lowest price, and that's what we get, to be honest with you. And we look for fruit and vegetables, that's what we're going to get. We're going to get the cheapest one, even if it's not in great condition. Why? Because we don't have the access so that we can pay everything that is needed. And we know that our health is being at risk right there. And that's why our people, our communities, that's why there's so much obesity. And a lot of the reasons are that. And the first thing the doctor tells us when we go is they say, go on a diet. Stop eating, so many things that you're eating and just eat certain vegetables and fruits. That's the first thing that they tell us, to lower our cholesterol, our high blood sugar, our fat, everything. And they're constantly in our community. I can hear it all the time. They're talking about what's provoked all these illnesses in their bodies, but they don't have the money so that they can buy that food. So what we have to do is we have to be aware that if we're getting the help, like I said, like me personally, they helped me a lot with those vegetables and the fruits that they were providing, that's, CHC and Best Start was providing, because those were very difficult times. And so my husband is the one that provided to the home. And so he didn't work for 2 months. And that was very difficult for us because we had the virus as well. We went through COVID as well. And we were like, even though we were taking care of ourselves, the virus showed up. He had to go out to work. If not, who was going to bring the food home? Who was? So that we have to reflect when, thank God, we got through the COVID virus. But what we did is we went out and we took fruit and vegetables to those homes that were going through difficult times. But how were we able to continue to pay the rent, the bills and all that? Well, we had to get credit cards. And I'm telling you so that you can hear this. And we still have to make those payments, right? So right now we have to keep paying the bills little by little, but not just me, lots of people, lots of residents in our communities went through the same thing. And a lot of people that didn't have the unemployment benefits because they didn't have Social Security. I mean, they couldn't do their taxes, but they may be doing their taxes, but they didn't receive the unemployment because, I mean, we can be paying our taxes, but a lot of people still don't get their unemployment. So what did they do if they didn't even have a job? So that's where we have to think, and that's where we have to see. And we went out and we looked for people that really needed it. And we went to those people and we took the vegetables, we took the fruit to them, and they were very thankful. They were very thankful about what we were doing and what our community was doing during those anguish times. So right now we have to think about this. Yes, and I agree that we have to have programs to eat healthier. I totally agree with that. But also we have to look for ways of how to have the access and how to continue to having vegetables and fruits, because not everybody has the money to be able to go and buy that. So I just want us to think about that and look for ways how to help us, how to help each other, really, because that's what our community needs. I mean, we're here today. We don't know where we'll be tomorrow. We may go to sleep tonight, but we don't know if we'll wake up tomorrow. But united, we can make a difference, and we can make another human being happy, and we can provide something so they can have a full stomach in one way or another with fruits and vegetables. And I just want us to reflect on that. And as brothers and sisters, and just that's the only way we're going to be able to actually make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautifully said, Bebe. So I'll read through the comments and then we'll finish out with our final person. So Wilma, you wrote in the comments, ask for assistance from people that you would think they have some knowledge of products in these stores. Amada said, we need programs to educate our community to eat healthy and prepare dishes without so many calories and eat more fruits and vegetables. Aurelie said, as adults, we should eat with measure and without exaggeration and teach our own. For example, in my family now have a plate from a restaurant is shared for 2 or half is taken. And at home we have reduced quantities. And Wilma said, I learned a lot by asking others if and when I don't know. Aurelie said a bag of potato chips is $1 to $2, but a bag of fruit is $5. And if there's no money, what do we do? Wilma said, what's wrong with creating a business and stop depending on the state and federal government? See me if you want more information. Veronica Salazar said, thank you for convening us, for giving us this information so that we can make healthier decisions and improve our health. Wilma, you had your hand raised.
That's true. I did have my hand raised, but I wanted to say that what I'm hearing, that we are making a lot of excuses, but we can also take action by creating a business for ourselves, and we can depend on the government to give us supplemental income until we can improve our bottom line as far as income. But we cannot really depend totally on government help unless you want a socialist country where everything we do, they tell us how to do it, when to do it. But that's my thoughts. Thank you.
So I think I do want to speak on, what Febio was talking about coming together, and the main themes that I was seeing and hearing from the research in which you all were talking about. So we talked about issues of accessibility, the price of produce, this distance, the issues of transportation, the stores with organic products could potentially be closer, and talking about the accessibility to meats, especially if we don't eat red meat, such as fish, and seeing if we get greater amounts. Supporting smaller shops, and talking about what Onimi was talking about more PR, how to spread information, and the general topics of what people were talking about in terms of workshops and spreading information about how to use particular produce, how to cook them, what things like organic even means, and overall, like what Kenneth was talking about, community gardening, growing access in our own communities, harvesting and cultivating fruits and vegetables. And some workshop ideas that I think is informative for especially CHC moving forward and for the policies that we're looking into is how to read labels, what to do with vegetables and how to cook them. And policies could also look at food availability within schools, since children will be eating within these schools for 1 to 2 meals. It's important to know what they're going to be able to access. And I think overall what people are talking about is that there's issues not just tied to food, but issues connected to employment, to wages, to transportation, and education. And all of that is heightened right now in the pandemic, as people might not have the same access to jobs and even access to other people in a way that they used to. And so what we wanted to do is that we want to talk about our discussions moving forward and how we can work with organizations Best Start and CHC, and with organizations including residents such as the Resident Task Force. So I want to pass it off to Rosario for her to speak on the potential next steps that we have and how we can come together like what Febio was talking about with the rest of our community.
Are you all able to see the presentation? Okay, so moving forward, we just wanted to let you all know, and you already know this, you're all now trained in what it means to do food policy research, and we encourage you all to speak on the expertise and the experiences that you have. And as we develop through events through South LA Decides, CHC, the Social Change Institute, and First 5 LA, we do want to encourage you to speak up at events and through groups like the Regional Task Force to make your voices heard. And I do also want to say, thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this entire process. I know CHC went through some transitions that really delayed our timeline on this project. And so I just want to say, thank you for your patience, and thank you for your amazing submissions. It was really a privilege to read all your stories, look at all your pictures, and to listen to all of your interviews. And so again, just thank you very much for your contribution and for your consistency with this program. And actually, I do want to, and so this is just our last slide to say thank you, but I do want to open it up to actually staff members of CHC to just kind of share your reflections as well on this process and what you envision the potential of this group of residents is. And so just speaking for myself as someone who worked on analyzing all your submissions, I can tell that there is a lot of motivation and personal ambition to take action in a lot of the issues that you brought up. And thank you so much for the very clear and explicit examples that you brought up of things that we can do to improve your food stories. And so I guess I will popcorn it off to Veronica Lopez if you have any reflections that you would like to share with the group.
Thank you, everybody, for participating today. If you haven't sent in the survey that we sent you, please make sure to send them in today. We're going to start with the last payment will be today so that you can get it as soon as possible. I will get in touch with each one of you. And I have received some of the surveys and I saw them today. Thank you.
And I'd also like to welcome any other members of CHC who would like to just share reflections or thoughts of what you heard and what you saw today.
Hey, Rosario, thank you again. And Armand, and to all the food ambassadors, spot on presentation and data collection. I think it ties into, I'm pretty sure folks have already heard or known that they shut down the Ralph's grocery store and another one, Food for Less, in Long Beach. And there are, I think there's like 3 more that are slated to be closed, one on Crenshaw and Slauson. So what you're doing and what your stories are capturing is happening now at a policy level, an unfortunate policy level that will further hamper access to food and access to quality jobs. So, you know, unfortunately, the planets align, and I think potential next steps would be, you know, stepping into the advocacy and the policy and systems change and flagging this data or sharing this data with potential policymakers at a city level or a county level. I mean, the sky's the limit, but it's very timely with what you've researched and connected with the community is happening now with these closures or potential closures that will unfortunately impact our communities of color. So again, thank you again for everyone's hard work and leadership with really sharing your stories on food, because food is an emotional experience because, you know, it nourishes our body, mind, and soul. And when there are systems that impact access to food, it just makes things harder to find. So I'll stop with that. And I think I saw a hand go up, but you know, great work, everyone. And this is very powerful and also very sobering information.
Yes, thank you. I'm Maria Manzano. I was just waiting for other people to speak, but I'm implementing it with the mothers where I'm giving or teaching the yoga. I can't say more about eating healthy because if they don't have access, I mean, that's not the process. I can't do that. And what we're doing is we have a group with mothers where we find vegetables at low prices, and that's helping us so that they can eat healthy as well.
Thank you, Maria, for sharing. And so do we have any final reflections that we'd like to share from CHC staff?
Hi, Rosario, this is Rebecca. I just wanted to quickly also thank everybody for sticking with us and working with Rosario and Armand and welcoming them into this work that you all have been part of for a long time, and just bringing your stories and showing up as you always do. This was really fantastic information. So I've learned a lot. I always learn a lot. And I just want to bring up actually both what Albert was saying and something that Ms. Bryant said earlier on about PR, that it's not just about, highlighting what's going on in the community, but exercising your voice and the power of your collective voice in these stories, and the passion that you're bringing. And like Maria with teaching her mothers in the yoga, and with all of you out there that are doing the work in the neighborhood councils, that you have influence and you have power. And I am confident that Albert and his team are going to be working with you all to create this power play so that schools do get better food, and so that grocery stores stop closing. So and so I think that really struck me, is how do we, it takes a minute, but we do want to get some momentum going if we can, and around this conversation and all of these stories, and and working in partnership with you all to move some sort of policy advocacy forward. And then the last thing I'll say is reflecting on something Wilma also shared around ownership of our food access. And I think that's really key as well. And so we do want to look at how do we create opportunities for that, and I'm just thinking about it's a combination of getting support from others and also building things that can sustain, the community independently, in the future. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, for sharing. Erica, did you want to say something?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Erica Pinto. I introduced myself earlier, but I was on the Spanish channel. I am a policy analyst with CHC, and I just wanted to take the time and thank you all again for all of the hard work that you've done on this project. It's been very rich in data. I'm fairly new to CHC, so I appreciate learning more about the food justice and food equity issues that you've all moved forward in South LA communities. And I think it's given us a lot to work with to get to know your understanding of food justice in South LA and how we can make those connections to other movements going on in LA and how to best address the needs that you've highlighted in the community. So I wanted to thank you again for that. And I'm sure we will be working together again and with other collaborators in our areas. So thank you.
And if there are no more comments to share from CHC staff, I think we can wrap up this meeting. And again, thank you everyone for your contributions. Just to echo again what Veronica was saying, if you haven't taken the survey yet or the at-home activity, what we can do after this meeting is resend the link so that you have it, and also resend the report that's updated and double checking that it has everyone's name included. And like Erica said, we don't imagine that this will be the last time that you hear from us. This is just closing one chapter of a book that we're all working on together. So thank you again for everyone's contributions. And I think with that, we can wrap it up and leave you all to enjoy the rest of your day. So thank you again so much for your time and for your contributions.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Rosario, Albert. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for your help.
Okay, well done, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Patricia. Bye, Patricia. Bye, Wilma. Bye, Wilma. Bye, Patricia.
Bye.
Bye, Patricia. Bye.